Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Roma, Texas, here on Gladiator Field for a 2018 baseball regional quarterfinal matchup between the Battle of the Bulldogs, two 6A teams. You're looking at the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs and the McAllen High School Bulldogs. Of course, we're playing on a neutral field. For game number 2, the home team will be Laredo Alexander. For those of you that are tuning in for the first time, I want to let you know that last night in a pitcher's duel in game 2, Laredo Alexander won 3-1. 3-1. This is game number 2, so we know that for the McAllen Bulldogs, this is an elimination game. I want to tell everybody that the MCHI Bulldogs have in the playoffs are 4-3, while the Alexander Bulldogs are 4-0. Now, you don't want to lose games in the playoffs, but it sometimes helps you because the MCHI Bulldogs have been in 2 elimination games against Laredo United, and that was in the first by-district games, and they did win 2-1, a tight game. So they're used to this kind of pressure. And then with Far San Juan Alamo Bears, they also went to game 3. And this is after they lost game 2, 12-2, came back, composed themselves, and they did win 3-1. So the Bulldogs are a very difficult team to put away. We'll see how that pans out today. Right now, we're going to go to the national anthem.
The reason we made this Quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nistamal made handmade tortilla, and our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
I opened Alex Ron with the intention to give people in Brownsville and those who visit us a very unique experience in the area of retail. We saw the need to give people a personal experience that only a boutique could provide. Here in Alex and Raw, what we work for is searching for different pieces, textures we bring from India, from Mexico, trying to make this a different experience. The people to find treasures here in their own valley. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody and making them a part of our family. We invite you to discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
At Illuminations, we're a one-stop shop. We have all the lighting you need for your new home, outdoor lighting, ceiling fans, chandeliers. So when you're building your new home, we work well with your builder. We'll get your floor plans, or we'll walk the house if we need to, make sure all the light fixtures that you get are gonna work and are gonna look good together.
And we're back after the national anthem. As you can see on the screen, you will see that umpires are going to their positions. Let me tell you the umpires are from the Austin chapter. They're neutral umpires. Umpiring today at third base will be the plate umpire from last night, Carl Holdren. Coming in from first base to behind the plate, if they follow that rotation, is Joe Hopkin. Umpire first base will be Chris Ellison. And the umpire at second will be Michael Feste. Getting back to last night's game, pretty much Alexander did what they have to do, did the little things correctly, played good defense. Of course, Marcelo Perez was unbelievable. Only allowed 2 hits, had 9 strikeouts, very dominant performance by Marcelo, who is a TCU-bound athlete, and he got the Alexander Bulldogs off on the right track. But also on offense, they had a couple of key hits. They didn't have too many opportunities, but when they did have their opportunities, they came through, and one of those was Joel Hinojosa, who came up with a big RBI hit. And here, let's talk about the lineups now. For the Bulldogs, leading off will be Rigo Moreno, to be followed by Aaron Nixon. After Aaron Nixon, they have Abani Garcia, who was a pitcher last night. And pretty much the same lineup for the Bulldogs that they've used all year. Nate Quintanilla will be the cleanup man. Robbie Baldonado will be in left field. Designated hitter Hector Garcia. Followed by Chris Bernal, Gibby Mata, and Jacob Vela. So we're ready for the first pitch of the ball game. Pitching for the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs on a high fastball. The pitcher is Albert Gonzalez, who is also New Mexico Junior College bound. So that's ball one. Leadoff man, top of the first. Inside pitch, makes it 2 balls, no strikes on Rigo Moreno. In the outfield for the Alexander Bulldogs is Marcelo Perez, who pitched last night. In left, center field, Benquis Ramirez, and in right field, Paco Hernandez. And there's a strike on the inside corner. Makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. Aaron Nixon is on deck. He's the one that broke up the no-hitter last night in the 6th inning. And here's the pitch. Call a ball on the outside. So 3 balls and 1 strike on Rigo Moreno. We just started here, and the temperature is about 92 degrees. Swung on a miss. Makes the count full. In high school baseball, there is a pitching limit for pitchers, 110 pitches, and I'll talk about those pitches once we get to about the 85-90 mark. Full count. Inside. Good job by Rigo Moreno to get the Bulldogs a momentum. Try to get that momentum. Try to get some runs early. This Bulldog team from McAllen High is a very resilient ball club. They started the playoffs ranked number 1 in the state, and because of the 2 losses they had in the playoffs, they are now ranked 6. So now batting Aaron Nixon, who will be pitching this afternoon. And there's a strike. No balls, 1 strike. We just started, no outs. First batter, Rigo Moreno is on first base on a walk. Fastball right down the middle. And Aaron Nixon is now down 2 strikes. Looks like Albert Gonzalez has a pretty good fastball. There's a foul ball. Good cut by Nixon on a 2-strike pitch. I don't think that's where Albert Gonzalez wanted that pitch. Too good of a cut. Catching for Albert Gonzalez today is Sergio Galvan. Playing third base. Third base is Sergio Galvan. The catcher is actually George Gonzalez. Playing first base is T.C. Chavez. And he struck him out. Looked like an off-speed pitch for out number 1. The Bulldog offense needs to get themselves going. They didn't give themselves a lot of opportunities last night. It was a total of 9 strikeouts. Abani Garcia last night went 0 for 3, but he hit a real on it there in the 6th inning. He hit a shot to the center fielder, which could have been the best hit or contact for the Bulldogs of the night. There's another fastball. Pitcher for the Alexander Bulldogs, Albert Gonzalez, is showing his stuff right away, his speed. He does have a pretty good fastball. Strike 1, 1 out, runner on first base. Rigo Moreno with a pretty good lead. And the pitch is outside. Pretty close ball. Before last night's ball game, Abani Garcia came in with a 441 batting average, had 41 hits, 28 RBIs, and 4 home runs. In the playoffs, he's been doing pretty good offensively. And last night, he was just a victim of a couple of situations where the Bulldogs did not execute defensively, and that got the Bulldogs in trouble. Pitched very well, struck out 9. There goes Moreno. And then out at second base. Moreno caught stealing at second base for out number 2. Let's give a little star to catcher George Gonzalez for putting on a good throw. So Moreno is caught stealing for out number 2. And Abani now with a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Here's a pitch. Outside. And that's a pretty close pitch right there. 2 balls, 2 strike. You could tell that Albert Gonzalez, the pitcher for Laredo Alexander, wanted that pitch. So you got 2 outs, 2 balls, and 2 strikes. Top of the first. Foul ball. Waiting on deck is Nate Quintanilla. If Quintanilla can get on, then Robbie Maldonado would be the next batter. Playing shortstop for Laredo Alexander is Joel Hinojosa. At second, Louis Berrial. T.C. Chavez is at first base. And Sergio Galvan is the third baseman. Of course, Albert Gonzalez is pitching. Catching is George Gonzalez. Here's a pitch. Called ball. That was pretty close. And on that pitch, I will tell you this, that the entire infield for Laredo Alexander was on the way to the dugout, but the umpire did not call it a strike. And I did notice last night that the umpire behind the plate had a very narrow strike zone, and I'm wondering if this umpire has the same kind of strike zone. Strike 3 called for out number 3. So in the top of the first inning for the MCHI Bulldogs, there was no hits, no runs, and nobody left on base. So after a half inning of play, the MCHI Bulldogs 0, the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs coming up to bat. We will be right back.
Never pay for the showroom. At Mi Casa Furniture, you can buy any of this furniture for 50% off retail. Think about it. 50% off retail at Mi Casa Furniture, 7533 Boca Chica, where you always buy for less.
And we're back here in the bottom of the first inning in Roma, Texas, Gladiator Field, as Aaron Nixon is finishing up his warm-ups. The lineup for Alexander Bulldogs, leading off, will be Joel Hinojosa, to be followed by Louis Berrial and last night's pitcher, Marcelo Perez. Defensively for the Bulldogs, in left field is Robbie Maldonado, center field, Rigo Moreno. Jacob Vela is in right field. Third baseman for today's game is Chris Bernal. The shortstop is George Garcia. Second base, Gibby Marta. Abani Garcia is the first baseman. And catching as he always does for the Bulldogs. Nate Quintanilla. Pitching today is Aaron Nixon. Aaron Nixon did a phenomenal job last week in game number 3 against the PSJ Bears, keeping them, that high-powered offense, down. So there's a pop-up towards the left field line, and nobody's going to get to it as the ball goes foul. Strike number 1. Last night, Joel Hinojosa went 1 for 4, but he was the offensive player of the game for Laredo Alexander, as he had a key hit in the second inning that brought in 2 RBIs and quickly shifted the momentum on the Alexander side. Aaron Nixon with the pitch. And there's a ground ball to the shortstop. It's going to be a tough throw. Not in time. Joel Hinojosa demonstrating his speed. That should be included. That one should be a hit because the shortstop had to go into the hole, and it would have taken a tremendous play to get Joel Hinojosa. So now Joel Hinojosa on first base with an infield single. That brings up Louis Berrial, the second baseman. Louis Berrial last night was 1 for 4. Runner on first. We just started here in Roma, Texas. Temperature about 93 degrees. Quick throw to first base. Safe. Looks like Coach Eliseo Pompa is thinking the third baseman for the Bulldogs is playing up. They're thinking sacrifice time. And we'll see if Coach Limas is going to go for a sacrifice. Looks like Louis Berrial is going to bunt it, and he does. Nixon goes to first base for out number 1. And there's a good sacrifice by Louis Berrial for out number 1. Now batting is the left fielder, Marcelo Perez. Last night, Marcelo Perez, in addition to doing a tremendous job on the mound as a pitcher, Marcelo Perez went 1 for 3. I do believe he's the one that had a real important sacrifice fly that brought in an RBI. On deck is Paco Hernandez, the right fielder. 1 out, bottom of the first. Runner on second. Nixon delivers. Ball 1. And I would like to tell everybody that's listening to us on Facebook with Real Sports Live or any of the other platforms that I wish I would have had some stats for Laredo Alexander, but I couldn't find any stats for them so I could share with our listeners. And there's a hard shot. Not sure, none of the umpires ruled that he had actually caught the ball until after he threw it to first base. But that's a great play by the Bulldogs third baseman. Did a fantastic, that was a shot. Chris Bernal came up with it, and nobody knew that if the line drive was caught, because the umpires did not show quickly that the line drive was caught. So that's out number 2. Now Paco Hernandez, right fielder, up to bat. Paco Hernandez was 0 for 3 last night. Look out. Wild pitch for ball 1. And Joel Hinojosa advances to third. So we have a runner on third for Laredo Alexander. 2 outs. Ball 1 on Paco Hernandez. Actually, Paco on that one, if he wouldn't have ducked, he would have gotten hit. He didn't want to take one for the team. Of course, I'm not the batter. But he would have gotten hit. Foul ball. Good cut by Paco Hernandez, who I understand if we go to game 3, it would happen here about a half an hour after game 2. But MCHI has to win. But I understand Paco Hernandez is also a pitcher. Last night he struck out twice and got on base on an error. He's a dangerous hitter. He is the cleanup man. Here's the pitch. Strike. Swung and a miss. During the season, I was able to be the commentator on a Real Sports Live contest in McAllen when the Bulldogs and La Jolla Coyotes played, and Aaron Nixon was the pitcher. He struck out 14 batters. The foul ball to right field. Paco Hernandez behind on the swing. There's 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Bottom of the first. Big runner in third. MCHI Bulldogs, they don't want to go down early. Put that extra pressure on themselves. This is a big out if Aaron Nixon can get Paco Hernandez. Looked like an off-speed pitch. And Aaron Nixon is trying to work on the mound with his cleats. He kind of lost his balance on that. Runner on third, Joel Hinojosa got on base on an infield single. Was bunted over to second and went to third on a wild pitch. And there's a pitch that was real close, and now here in the bottom of the first inning, it looked like all the Bulldog infielders were on their way to the dugout, but the umpire called it ball. So far, the first umpire and this umpire have shown that they have a real narrow strike zone. So the pitchers have to make that adjustment. Nixon coming in with a pitch. Another foul ball. Good job by Paco Hernandez hanging in there. With 2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs, bottom of the first. First game last night was won by Laredo Alexander Bulldogs. And the Battle of the Bulldogs score was 3-1. Nixon ready. Off-speed pitch. And Paco Hernandez doing a good job of hanging in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes. We'll see what Nixon will bring in on this pitch. This is going to be, looks like pitch number 13 already. This will be pitch number 14 for Aaron Nixon. And here's the pitch. And he struck him out on a high fastball for out number 3. Good job by Aaron Nixon in keeping that run from scoring. So this inning, you did have 1 hit, no runs, 1 left, no errors. After 1 complete inning of play, it's a scoreless ball game. We will be right back.
The Harlingen Downtown District has a bit of everything, my friends, and here's an invitation for you to visit and experience a friendly environment with a taste of local business and a variety of shopping, dining, and entertainment throughout the year. Vintage shops loaded with collectibles from the past, dining that caters to all, boutiques, quilting, salons, live entertainment, and don't forget about market days on the first Saturday of each month on Jackson Street and Art Night the last Friday of the month. It's the Harlingen Downtown District, and the invitation is for you. Shop down.
And we're back here on the top of the second in a scoreless game between the Battle of the Bulldogs, Laredo Alexander, and MCHI. Batting now is Nate Quintanilla, the catcher for the Bulldogs last night. Tough night at the plate for Nate Quintanilla. Struck out twice and flied out. It was 0 for 3. Strike called. Makes the count 1-1. The Bulldogs down in this series, best of 3 series. They lost last night, 3-1, must-win situation. And we do know that the MCHI Bulldogs are very resilient. This is the third game in the playoffs where they have to win or they would be eliminated. They did that against Laredo United, a real tight 2-1 ball game. And then last week, they beat Far San Juan Alamo Bears 3-1. And that game was very tight all the way to the 6th inning. Actually, in the bottom of in the 4th inning, while the Bulldogs hadn't shown anything, they were down 1-0, and Nate Quintanilla hit his first home run in the contest. And there's a ball, and Quintanilla gets a walk, and that just could be a lot of respect. You know he's very well scouted. Going into first base to courtesy run. Looks like might be number 6 for the Bulldogs. Courtesy running at first base. And that looks like Aaron Espinosa. A courtesy runner comes in for the catcher. That way it gives the catcher an opportunity to go into the dugout and put on his catcher's equipment so you can get the game going after 3 outs. Now batting Robbie Maldonado. Good bunt. Third baseman's going to have to go to first, and he does. Beautiful sacrifice by Robbie Maldonado, and that moves the courtesy runner to second base on a sac. 1 out. So what Coach Eliseo Pompa for the MCHI Bulldogs is doing, playing some small ball, basic baseball, and Coach Pompa is a legend in coaching in the Rio Grande Valley, for that matter in the state of Texas. He has over 700 victories. We're at the top of the 2nd inning, 1 out, runner in second. Now batting Hector Garcia. Gets a strike, fastball. Hector Garcia last night was 0 for 2. First time at bat, he did walk. That was an inning where the Bulldogs had an opportunity to score, and they did not get the key hit. Here's the pitch. Pop up. Looks like it's coming our way. Foul and out of play for strike 2. Last night, pretty much the difference in the game. Both pitchers did a good job, but a lack of execution on a couple of defensive miscues by the Bulldogs got them in trouble. And when the Alexander Bulldogs had the opportunity, they made it pay off with a base hit to score 2 runs. There's a strikeout. We're out number 2. That's strikeout number 3 for Alexander pitcher Albert Gonzalez. Makes it out number 2. Now batting is Chris Bernal Jr. playing third base. Last night, Chris was 0 for 2. Chris Bernal is just a freshman, came in before last night's game, batting .316, had 1 home run, actually came in the playoffs. Timeout by the catcher for Alexander, making sure that the signals are on par. So it's 2 outs. The Bulldogs have an opportunity to score. Last night, Marcelo Perez for the Alexander Bulldogs pitched a heck of a game, had 9 strikeouts. And, you know, anytime you're going to have 9 strikeouts in a 7-inning ball game, there's not too many teams that are going to have opportunities to score. You got to get that ball in play. Make that defense, put pressure on the defense. And there's a ball outside for ball 1. Chris Bernal last night also was playing right field, and shows you his versatility. Just a freshman. He came up and made a heck of a play in right field and actually took a hit away and doubled up the runner that was at first. There's a shot. It should drop in. That should be the first run for the Bulldogs. A bit hit by Chris Bernal. So the MCHI Bulldogs take a 1-0 lead. And that's a real key hit by the Bulldogs and an RBI by Chris Bernal. So today, the MCHI Bulldogs get on the scoreboard first and actually take their first lead of the series 1-0 on a base hit by Chris Bernal. Base hit and an RBI. And that's what I was talking about. Nathaniel, I was just referring to the fact that you got to get that ball in play. Last night, 9 strikeouts. Get that ball in play, put pressure on the defense, as Gibby Mata is now batting. Nice pitch on the outside corner. Makes a count, 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs. Top of the second inning. The Bulldogs have scored 1 run. Last night, Gibby Mata was 0 for 2. Here's the pitch. Inside pitch. Gibby Mata playing second base for the Bulldogs. Courtesy runner in the ball game scored for the Bulldogs. There's a nasty pitch for a 3rd strike, and that makes it 4 strikeouts. So, in the top of the second inning, there was 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on base. So after 1.5 innings of play, it's the MCHI Bulldogs 1, Laredo Alexander Bulldogs 0. We will be right back.
My dad was sitting down at a Denny's with my sister, and Valley TV changed our lives. My dad was sitting down, and as he saw up while he was eating his breakfast, he saw me on TV, and at that point he knew that he had done right. It was a turning point in our relationship that is been nurtured ever since he saw that. It gave him a new perspective. He finally understood that I was making the right choices, and I was giving back to the community. And really at this time would really want to thank Valley TV for not only helping Las Brisas Boxing Club and the community, but in bonding me and my father back. And I'm forever grateful for Valley TV for that. Thank you, Valley TV.
For the hottest deals, go to Mi Casa Furniture.
Save at Mi Casa Furniture. 7533 Boca Chica, Brownsville.
Welcome back to this RealSportsLive.com broadcast here in Roma, Texas. Gladiator Field, beautiful facility. Temperature is nice and cozy, 92 degrees. Now batting is the pitcher, Albert Gonzalez. Pop up to right field. Second baseman under it. Makes the catch for a quick first pitch out for Aaron Nixon. Now batting TC Chavez. TC Chavez flied out to center and right, and then struck out last night. He is 0 for 3. After TC Chavez, the designated hitter Andres Santos is waiting on deck. 1 out, bottom of the second, ball 1 low. As far as the wind conditions, it doesn't look like this afternoon is as windy as it was last night. And Aaron Nixon blows a fastball right by TC Chavez. I'm telling you, TC Chavez, he comes to bat. He does swing hard. He doesn't get cheated on his swings. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Good pitch by Aaron Nixon. And that's what makes a pitcher. You can have a good fastball, you can have a great slider, curveball, but if you're not hitting your spots, the batters are going to get to you. See what Nixon brings in. There's another fly out. This time second baseman is under it again, and he's got the second out for out number 2. Good pitch by Aaron Nixon. quick 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Now Andres Santos at bat. We know Andres Santos last night was 1 for 3. And he was a big key to the game last night because there was 2 outs in the second inning when he came up to bat. Kind of the same situation as right now. And he actually got a hit. And that started the rally. After the hit by Santos, then Sergio Galvan also got a hit. Then there was a walk. And the bases were loaded when Joel Hinojosa, the leadoff man, had a base hit and brought in two runs. There's a hit up the middle. This is almost playing out the same as last night. After 2 outs in the second inning, Andres Santos came up with a hit. Runner on first is Andres Santos, who was the designated hitter batting for Benkis Ramirez. Now batting is Sergio Galvan, to be followed by George Gonzalez. Yesterday in the second inning, after Andres Santos got a hit, Sergio Hernandez also got a hit, and that's what started the rally with 2 outs, and that's a mark of a good baseball team, when you can start rallies with 2 outs. Ball low, good scoop by Nate Quintanilla, keeping that ball from going to the backstop. Ball 1. Bottom of the second inning. Here's the pitch by Nixon. Ball 2 high. After Nixon got 2 quick outs on pop-ups to the second baseman, unassisted, when Andres Santos got a hit, he's at first base. 2 balls. Here's the pitch. And the batter gets ball 3. Nate Quintanilla calls timeout to go talk to Aaron Nixon. And at the same time, Coach Limas is talking to Sergio Galvan. As Limas is giving the signals, I would have to think, being around the game of baseball for many years, that Coach Limas would like to see Sergio Galvan take a pitch. And he does, and it's a strike. So 3 balls and 1 strike. Coach Limas giving the signals to Andres Santos, runner on first, who got on base with a base hit. Nixon in the windup. 3 balls, 1 strike. Bottom of the second inning. MCHI Bulldogs scored. There's a swing and a miss. Good cut. And the ball was very well placed by Aaron Nixon. That was a tough pitch to hit inside corner. If Sergio Galvan did not swing, it looked like a strike. So it's a full count. That will give Andres Santos an opportunity at first to take off and get a few extra steps. And what a great job by Aaron Nixon coming back to strike out Sergio Galvan for his second strikeouts. So in this inning, there was no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left man on base. So after 2 completed innings of plays, Mac Allen 2, Alexander 0. We'll be right back.
The reason we made this quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made handmade tortilla, and our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, you know, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
Never pay for the showroom. At Mi Casa Furniture, you can buy any of this furniture for 50% off retail. Think about it. 50% off retail at Mi Casa Furniture, 7533 Boca Chica, where you always buy for less.
Back to this Real Sports Live broadcast here in the afternoon, game number 2 of this regional quarterfinal battle between the Bulldogs, Alexander Bulldogs and the MCHI Bulldogs. We're at the top of the 3rd inning, now batting Jacob Vela, the right fielder. He did not bat last night. Ball outside. The Bulldogs scored in the 2nd inning. Nate Quintanilla got on base on a walk. Was sacrificed to second and came in on an RBI single by Chris Bernal. Last pitch was called a strike, makes it 1-1, no outs, top of the 3rd. And a foul ball down the right field line, going foul. And that makes the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. A little contrast to the pitcher today, Albert Gonzalez. He likes to work quickly. As soon as he gets the ball, he's ready to go. And there's a shot up the middle. Looks like it'll go. Shortstop got to it, but there's no way he was going to be able to throw out the runner. So an infield single for Jacob Vela to try to see if the MCHI Bulldogs can start a rally. And getting back to a comment I made earlier is that the Bulldogs cannot afford to have a lot of strikeouts. They need to try to get that ball in play, and that's what Jacob Vela did. So he gets a base hit out of that. Moreno indicating that they were going to go for a sacrifice, and we do know in the 2nd inning, after Nate Quintanilla got on base, Robbie Maldonado sacrificed him to second. So Coach Pompa playing small ball, it worked out pretty good. So look for a bunt here. There's a beautiful bunt right up the middle. The catcher's going to have to throw him out, and he does. But wonderful job by Rigo Moreno to sacrifice the runner to second base. That's out number 1. But job well done by Rigo Moreno. So now the MCHI Bulldogs have 2 opportunities with 2 good batters coming up to bat, Aaron Nixon and Abani Garcia, to try to see if they can get the 2nd run of the game. Aaron Nixon came in here last night with a .441 average. Before last night's game, he came in with a .441, 45 hits, 28 RBIs, 2 home runs, and last night he went 1 for 3. Here's the pitch. High, the ball gets away. So the runner advances to 3rd. I wouldn't know. It was a high pitch, but it looked like the catcher was relaxed on that one and wasn't able to catch it. I would give the catcher a pass ball on that, but I'm not the official scorekeeper, but that's what I would do. So that makes it 2 balls on Aaron Nixon with Jacob Vela at 3rd base. Less than 2 outs. A good ball club brings them in. The infielders are not really playing in, so they're willing to give up. There's a strike. The infielders are not playing in on the grass. Coach Limas has decided to. There are a couple of. They're actually back in normal defensive position. They're willing to give up that run at home. Contact. Ball outside. Good eye by Aaron Nixon on a close pitch. That makes it 3 balls and 1 strike. In the 1st inning, Aaron Nixon struck out. Last night, Aaron was 1 for 3, and we know that today he's pitching. He'd like to help himself out as a pitcher. Here's a pitch, big pitch. Looks like a pop-up that's going to be out of play. I think Aaron Nixon would like to get that pitch back. It was right there. He had an opportunity to make some contact. So we're looking at 1 out, full count. This could be a very important at-bat for Aaron Nixon. Here's a pitch. And there's a shot way out there to left field. And it went over the left fielder. Nixon will get a double out of that. And the Bulldogs from MCHI are up 2-0. And I'm going to give Nixon a double on that play, helping his own cause. I'll take a look at who the courtesy runner is. Now batting is going to be Abani Garcia. We have a courtesy runner for Aaron Nixon, who's being congratulated by his teammates in the dugout. Coach Limas is out to come out and talk to his pitcher, trying to settle him down. As the MCHI Bulldogs have already scored 2 runs, one in the second and run right here in the third inning. Into the pitchers, Abani Garcia will be the next batter. MCHI Bulldogs doing a good job of trying to get that momentum on their side as they lost last night's game. They're down in the best-of-3 series. It was very important for the MCHI Bulldogs to come out and get that momentum on their side, and they're doing that today. 2-0 on an RBI by Aaron Nixon. Now batting, Abani Garcia in the first inning, he struck out. Last night he was 0 for 3, but he did hit a ball deep center last night. If he would have pulled that ball to left field, it could have gone out of the ballpark. Abani Garcia, senior. He might want to do something about this game. Last night he had his first loss of the year. High ball 1. And anytime you have a third batter that's a very good batter and you have a base open, I wonder if Coach Limas for Alexander is willing to try to work on Abani, and if it doesn't work out and he gets a walk, he'll be okay with it. Good lead at second base. And there's a fly out to right field. It's deep. It is deep. And the ball was dropped. That should bring in another run for the Bulldogs, and it does. It does. And the 2 players collided in the outfield. That ball got close to the warning track. At the beginning, it did not look like it was going to go that deep, and it did, but we'll be right back.
The reason we made this quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made handmade tortilla, and our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, you know, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
My name is Ruben Reyna. I have been a music instructor for 30 years. I want all you veterans to come and take free piano guitar lessons. Call me for more information.
Never pay for the showroom. At Mi Casa Furniture, you can buy any of this furniture for 50% off retail. Think about it. 50% off retail at Mi Casa Furniture, 7533 Boca Chica, where you always buy for less.
Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles is your source for vintage, antique collectibles, vinyl records, and more. Located at 206 East Jackson in historic downtown Harlingen, it's Forever Memories, Antiques and Collectibles. It's a step back in time with a soundtrack like none other. Open Monday through Saturday, filled with memories and more. Forever Memories is for you.
And we're back here in the top of the third inning. The two outfielders, center fielder and the right fielder, basically collided with each other on that deep fly ball to right field by Abani Garcia. And that shows you the power of Abani Garcia. It did not look like he got it all, but he got enough. The ball went all the way to right center, and they were not able to get to it, so Abani gets a double on that and an RBI. So that puts the MCHI Bulldogs up 3-0 here in the top of the third inning. Abani is now at second, and Nate Quintanilla, the catcher, is batting with one out. Once again, Coach Eliseo Pompa, twice today, has sacrificed a runner that got to first, and both of them have scored, playing small ball, trying to generate runs. There's a low ball for late Quintanilla. Ball one. Quintanilla, in the second inning, walked, and the courtesy runner took his place. There's a shot once again to the outfield. Right fielder's under it for out number 2. Nate Quintanilla quite did not get all of that one for out number 2. Now batting Robbie Maldonado. As I was talking in the second inning, after Nate Quintanilla got on a walk, Robbie Maldonado did the right thing, was asked to sacrifice, did a good job, and he sacrificed. Got a runner to second, and that runner actually scored. This is small ball, team ball. There's a strike on Robbie Maldonado. Left-handed batter. He's also a left-handed pitcher. Won a real important Game 3 in by-district playoffs against Laredo United. There's a foul ball down the first base line that goes foul. 2 strikes. The Bulldogs from MCHI scored 1 run in the second and scored 2 in this inning on 3 hits. Another foul ball. Robbie Maldonado doing a good job of spoiling that pitch that was nice and outside and low. So the MCHI Bulldogs, who've been struggling scoring runs, so far have 3 runs in 3 innings. Runner on second, Abani Garcia, and he struck him out for out number 3. But for the MCHI Bulldogs, they did score 2 runs on 3 hits. There was no errors, 1 person left on base. So after 2.5 innings of play, MCHI Bulldogs 3, Laredo Alexander has not scored.
The reason we made this Quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made handmade tortilla. And our specialty which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here.
Like a fool, I went and stayed too long. I'm wondering if your love's still strong. Ooh, baby, here I am, signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours. Here I am, baby.
And we're back here in Roma, Texas, Gladiator Field, bottom of the third inning. The MCHI Bulldogs, knowing that this game is a must-win game, have taken a 3-0 lead. First batter for Alexander is Jorge Gonzalez, the catcher. George Gonzalez last night went 1 for 2. He also had a walk in his first at-bat. Aaron Nixon, so far he has 2 strikeouts. Ball 1, high. After Jorge Gonzalez, you have the top of the batting order with Joel Hinojosa, Luis Berrial, and Marcelo Perez. Big inning for Aaron Nixon to see if he can keep the momentum on the MCHI side. Strike 1. So far in the first 2 innings, Coach Pompa sacrificing some outs, getting runners to second, and it has paid off because both of those runners came in to score. High ball makes it 2 balls and 1 strike here in the bottom of the third inning. Nixon ready. There's a pop up to the right field. Should be caught. It is caught for out number 1. That brings up to the plate Joel Hinojosa. Joel Hinojosa started off the game with a base hit. Went all the way to third base. And that's where Aaron Nixon struck out Paco Hernandez and left Joel Hinojosa standing in third base. Joel Hinojosa last night was 1 for 4, but that one hit was big because he brought in 2 runs, the first 2 runs of the game. Leadoff man. There's a nice pitch by Aaron Nixon. One out, bottom of the third inning, 3-0, MCHI on top. Pop up, that's probably going to go out of play. Bonnie Garcia comes over to the MCHI dugout to take a look, and it did go out of play. Makes it 2 strikes. Aaron Nixon throwing strikes, and that's what you need to do. Let your defense do the work for you. Aaron Nixon wants to talk to Nate Quintanilla. Probably talking to each other about the signals. It's been pretty quiet out here. The fans are enjoying a 94-degree day, but they are in the shade. This is a ballpark here in Roma, Texas. Is very nice. As I take a look outside, it's not very uncomfortable at all. Everybody's in the shade. There are no umbrellas. No umbrellas out here tonight, or today, this afternoon. That was a wasted pitch to see if Joel Hinojosa would bite on a high fastball by Aaron Nixon, and Joel did a good job of that. And here's the pitch. Almost hit him. That's 2 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the bottom of the third inning, 1 out, 2 balls and 2 strikes. The top of the lineup, Joel Hinojosa, the shortstop at bat. And guess what? He struck him out. Aaron Nixon challenged him and give another K to Aaron Nixon, and that's his 3rd strikeout. So, now batting Luis Berrial, the second baseman. In the first inning, after Joel Hinojosa got to first on a hit, Coach Limas for Alexander had Luis Villarreal sacrifice and had a great bunt. And that's the difference in this game. Alexander had a scoring opportunity in the first inning and didn't take advantage, and the Bulldogs have taken advantage so far. Nice strike on the right there on the outside corner by Nixon. If Aaron Nixon continues to hit those outside corners and inside corners, he's going to be very hard to deal with this afternoon. There's a high chopper that's going foul ball. And Aaron Nixon once again bringing in the strikes. That makes it 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs in the bottom of the third. And it's important that once you score 2 runs in an inning, you want to have that shutdown inning. You don't want to give Laredo Alexander an opportunity to get that confidence back on their side. The stretch, and here's a pitch. Curveball, job by Luis Villarreal to hang in there. Last night, Luis went 1 for 4. Defensively, I like the way Luis plays. Very smooth at shortstop, at second base. Here comes a pitch by Aaron Nixon. High curveball. He's had about 3 or 4 pitches that his release point hasn't been where it needs to be, and that's where the ball comes high. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, bottom of the third. And call strike 3 by Aaron Nixon. Good job. 3 up, 3 down. No runs, no hits, no errors. After 3 complete innings of play, it's a MCHI Bulldogs 3, the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs 0. We'll be right back. And we're back here at Gladiator Field. We appreciate the hospitality by Roma Independent School District as this game is being played on a neutral field, the Battle of the Bulldogs, a regional quarterfinal game. It's my pleasure, Mario Reina, on behalf of Joe Bowling and his RealSports.com family, to bring you this ball game. Leading off is Hector Garcia. Hector Garcia in the first inning was one of the 5 strikeout victims for pitcher Gonzalez. And that's outside for ball 2. The umpiring crew for this game are neutral. They come out of the Austin chapter. And there's a strike. The Bulldogs, taking advantage of a couple of hits and well-timed sacrifices, were able to get to Albert Gonzalez. And there's a pitch outside. Ball 3. After Hector Garcia, we'll have Chris Bernal, the batter, who actually got a hit back in the second inning in the first RBI of the game. And there's a shot way out there to left field. Forget that one. way out of here. A home run. A home run by Hector Garcia. He got all of that fastball. It was way out there. That ball there could have probably gone out in any ballpark, including ballparks in the major leagues, college level. He got all of that one. There was no doubt about that. And that's exactly what confidence does for you. All the batters come up. They're a little bit more relaxed. They don't tense up because they know they're down one game. But when you're up 3-0, it gives you a lot of confidence to relax. So the Bulldogs are showing everybody why they are the number 6 ranked team in the state. As I said at the beginning of the game, Nathaniel, the Bulldogs have been they have been in 2 games where they were facing elimination, and they were able to take those games. And we're not talking games that were easy to win. They were real tight games. They beat Laredo United 2-1, and then last week they beat Far San Juan Alamo 3-1. So now batting is Chris Bernal. He's down 2 strikes. But let's give credit to Chris Bernal in the second inning. He's the one that got that hit to bring in the courtesy runner. There's a strikeout, and he might get to first. And he does. And that's a very unusual play. But you call it a strikeout, but Chris Bernal gets to first because you have to catch that ball. So that's an unusual play where the batter actually strikes out, but because the catcher couldn't catch the ball, you have the right to run to first, and the catcher had to throw him out at first, but he wasn't able to do it. So Bernal is safe at first. Now batting Gibby Mata, to be followed by Jacob Vela, and then the top of the batting order, Rigo Moreno. The Bulldogs are now leading 4-0. Let's not forget, last week the Bulldogs lost 12-2 in Game 2 and came back. And there's another ball called, and the fans from Laredo, Alexander, not happy. That makes it 2 balls. I would expect, since Coach Eliseo Pompa has had 2 sacrifice bunts here today, and they have both worked out very nicely, that I expect Coach Pompa to sacrifice again. Now, with a 2-ball count, he might just ask him to take a pitch, fake it, and we'll see what happens. Oh, he actually does put it down. Another good bunt, but it does go foul ball. So we'll have to do it again. Foul ball. 2 balls and 1 strike on Gibby Mata. Chris Bernal has to go back to first. Here in the top of the 4th inning, the Bulldogs already has scored a run. After not scoring a run in the first inning, the Bulldogs scored 1 in the second, 2 in the third, and 1 in the top of the 4th, and it makes it 4-0. Here's a bunt. Better bunt to the pitcher. He's going to have to go to first. Another good sacrifice. So that's another sacrifice for the Bulldogs for out number 1. Bulldogs are using the sacrifice today to generate some runs. Now batting is Jacob Vela. Jacob Vela, he actually scored in the first inning. The third inning. Here's the pitch. Swung on and miss. Strike number 1. We're here in the top of the 4th inning. 4 runs for the MCHI Bulldogs. Alexander has not scored. Ground ball to the shortstop. He's going to have to go to first. He does. For out number 2. Runner gets to third. Three sacrifices so far by the Bulldogs. So with a runner on third base, Rigo Moreno up to bat. Let's see what Rigo can do. You want to take advantage of any opportunity you can. And even though the Bulldogs from MCHI are up 4-0, that run at third can be big later. So that's 2 strikes on Rigo Moreno. A foul ball. The count remains 2 strikes with 2 outs. Bulldogs have already scored 1 run in this inning. Standing at third is Chris Bernal. Score as many runs as you can. Chopper to the second baseman. He should get him at first. And he does for out number 3. But not before the Bulldogs come up with another run. So after 3.5 innings to play, it's McCallum Bulldogs 4, Laredo Alexander 0. We'll be right back.
At Illuminations, we're a one-stop shop. We have all the lighting you need for your new home, outdoor lighting, ceiling fans, chandeliers. So when you're building your new home, we work well with your builder. We'll get your floor plans, or we'll walk the house if we need to, make sure all the light fixtures that you get are gonna work and are gonna look good together. Illuminations is a family-owned business. We've been in business for 17 years now. My parents actually were in the construction industry prior to opening the store, and it was during this time that they noticed a need for a store like ours. One that would provide the customer service that contractors and new homeowners are looking for, and eliminate the headaches that you might get when you're shopping at a big box store and you don't get that one-on-one customer service. The Brownsville area is really growing. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of construction, there's a lot of excitement. So we're glad that we finally have a store here that customers can come look at our products here locally. I invite you to come discover Brownsville.
We're back here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Leading off for Alexander is a pitching hero from last night, Marcelo Perez, playing left field. In the first inning, Marcelo grounded out to the third baseman. Following Marcelo will be Paco Hernandez and then Albert Gonzalez, the pitcher. Aaron Nixon getting stronger as the game's going on, finding his groove, hitting his spots. In the last inning, he struck out 2 Alexander batters. So far, he has 4 strikeouts in this game. Ball 1. Foul ball. You know when you're getting a lot of foul balls that the batters are behind on the pitch. I understand that Aaron Nixon, very capable of getting that ball to the plate in the 90s. And that, my friends, is a pretty good fastball. But he also has some off-speed pitches that he works, and he keeps the batters off balance. 1 ball, 1 strike. Lead off Marcelo Perez. That's a low. And with a 4-0 lead, you know that Coach Eliseo Pompa and his pitching coach have told Aaron, just do the same thing. Try to stay away from walks. Make the Bulldogs from Alexander earn it. There's a pop-up to the right fielder. He is under it. But the second baseman comes in there to secures it for out number 1. Big out for Aaron Nixon. That's out number 1. Now batting Paco Hernandez. And Paco, in the first inning, was a strikeout. So we'll see how Paco Hernandez does this time around. And you know that once the batter has seen you one time, all the baseball coaches feel that sometimes that goes to an advantage to the batters after you get to see the pitcher once. Nixon coming in there with a strike. And I know as an umpire for many years, coaches would always talk about the importance of that first strike. Get ahead of the batters. And that's what Aaron Nixon wants to do this afternoon. 4-0, elimination game for the MCHI Bulldogs. There's no tomorrow. They got to get this game. If there is a third game, they'll play about a half an hour after the second game. Ball outside. Makes it 1 ball and 1 strike. So far, Aaron Nixon has 4 strikeouts in this game. Has not allowed a run. The pitch count is very low. He's at about 45. Foul ball. Doesn't look like the batters are coming around on time on the fastball from Aaron Nixon. The next pitch for Nixon will be pitch number 50. If you compare that pitch count to Gonzalez from Alexander, he has 70 pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, bottom of the 4th. And there's a fly to right field down the line. It goes foul. So the count remains 1 ball and 2 strikes. The MCHI Bulldogs doing a good job of scoring early. They used small ball. By that we mean that when A. Quintanilla got on base in the second inning, he was sacrificed to second. And then Chris Bernal came up with a big RBI. And in the third inning, they had two runs come across, and one was thanks to a sacrifice. And it's never too late to come out here to Roma, Texas, where the temperature is 96. Hi, I'm Paco Hernandez as Aaron Nixon trying to see if Paco would go for a high pitch. It's a setup pitch with a 2-2. Aaron Nixon can basically throw anything. As you can see, Paco Hernandez gets a little bit nervous, says, hey, I need a little bit of time to think about this. So it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Aaron Nixon is reminding me of the time when he pitched against La Jolla. Very confident. And that was barely contact by Paco Hernandez. He did swing and just barely had contact where Nate Quintanilla could not hang on a foul tip. Count remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Paco Hernandez is a right fielder. He's a cleanup man. Struck out in the first inning. We'll see what Aaron Nixon decides to bring to the plate. Will he come with his fastball, or will he throw an off-speed pitch? Here we go. And there's a fastball that Paco did a good job of getting that for out number 1. No doubt about that one by Paco as he gets on first base to try to see if Laredo Alexander can get a rally going. Now batting is Albert Gonzalez, the pitcher. Albert, in the second inning, had a pop-up to the second baseman. That hit by Paco is the 3rd hit for Alexander in this game. And there's a strike. And you know, because the MCHI Bulldogs are up 4-0, then that influences the offense. You might not be as aggressive on the bases on stealing because you cannot afford to mess up. There's a high pitch. Makes it 1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out, runner on first. Bottom of the 4th, MCHI Bulldogs 4-0. Albert Gonzalez trying to help himself as he is a pitcher of record. I don't think he's going to be bunting. He's faking a bunt. And he swings. And there's a pop-up. Should be caught by the right fielder for the Bulldogs, and he does for out number 2. Fly out to the right fielder. out number 2. That's a huge out. Aaron Nixon and the MCHI Bulldogs, they don't want to give Alexander any hope. If you go into the top of the 5th with a 4-0 lead, it really sounds pretty good. Now batting TC Chavez, the first baseman, who flew out to the second baseman in the second inning. 2 outs, Paco Hernandez at first. He's got a pretty nice lead. I doubt it if he'll run. You don't want to risk out number 3. High fastball. You could hear the pop on the mitt all the way up here to the press box by Aaron Nixon. Aaron Nixon doing a good job of not walking anyone. Has had good control today. There's a swing and a miss for strike 1. TC Chavez. 1 ball, 1 strike. I'd like to come back and give credit to designated hitter for the Bulldogs, Hector Garcia. The home run that he hit in the 4th inning was a spectacular home run. No doubt about it. Left field. Out of here as soon as you heard the crack of the bat. There's a pop-up. Should be caught. Going out to the right fielder. He's under it for out number 3. So, no runs on 1 hit after 4 complete innings of play. It's a MCHI Bulldogs 4, Laredo Alexander Bulldogs 0.
The reason we made this quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made handmade tortilla. And our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, you know, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
Never pay for the showroom. At Mi Casa Furniture, you can buy any of this furniture for 50% off retail. Think about it. 50% off retail at Mi Casa Furniture, 7533 Boca Chica, where you always buy for less.
My name is Ruben Reyna. I have been a music instructor for 30 years. I want all you veterans to come and take free piano guitar lessons. Call me for more information.
At Illuminations, we're a one-stop shop. We have all the lighting you need for your new home, outdoor lighting, ceiling fans, chandeliers. So when you're building your new home, we work well with your builder. We'll get your floor plans, or we'll walk the house if we need to, make sure all the light fixtures that you get are gonna work and are gonna look good together. Illuminations is a family-owned business. We've been in business for 17 years now. My parents actually were in the construction industry prior to opening the store, and it was during this time that they noticed a need for a store like ours, one that would provide the customer service that contractors and new homeowners are looking for, and eliminate the headaches that you might get when you're shopping at a big box.
Welcome everybody back to this broadcast of LiveSports.com. We are here in the top of the 5th inning in Roma, Texas, in the Battle of the Bulldogs. 6A competition here between the Laredo Alexander Bulldogs and the MCHI Bulldogs regional quarterfinal. We have a new pitcher for Laredo Alexander. Jackson Alanis has come in, with the Bulldogs leading, the MCHI Bulldogs that is, 4-0. Now batting Aaron Nixon, the pitcher. He got a very nice applause from his fans from the MCHI side. He's doing a wonderful job on the pitching. Inside pitch makes it 1 ball, 1 strike on Aaron Nixon. who actually had a double in the third inning, also scored a run. High ball. I wonder if Coach Limas from Alexander says, if I'm down right now 4-0 and don't come back, I don't want to lose Albert Gonzalez and give him an opportunity to help out in a game 3. There's a pop-up in the infield. Second baseman is under it for out number 1. Nixon goes out on an out, on a pop-up to the second baseman for out number 1. Now batting is Bunny Garcia. Bunny Garcia hit a long fly ball in the third inning in between the right fielder and the center fielder. Very difficult ball to catch, and we gave him a double for that. Shows you the power going the opposite field by Bunny Garcia. There's a pitch that went over everyone for ball 1. Last ball 1, 1 out. Top of the 5th inning. Bulldogs from McAllen leading 4-0. The foul ball. 1-1. On deck is Nate Quintanilla, who drew a very important walk in the second inning that actually came back to hurt Alexander, because MCHI was able to score that first run. The rally started on a walk. Here's a 1-1 pitch outside. Bunny Garcia pitching last night did a good job. But actually, that's his first loss of the season. He's a competitor. Good eye outside. That puts a Bunny Garcia in the driver's seat. 1 out. And Bonnie draws a walk. It's the second time. Runner first is Bonnie. Now last night, because Bonnie Garcia was a pitcher, you could have a courtesy runner for him. In the high school baseball, you can actually have courtesy runners for the pitcher and the catcher, but since Bonnie's playing first base, he doesn't have that privilege. So let's see what Nate Quintanilla does. He started the second inning with a real important walk. Flied out to the right fielder. Did not have a very productive night at the plate last night, 0 for 3. But without Bonnie's 2 home runs against Far San Juan Alamo, MCHI might not have been here. There's a ground ball to the third baseman. He has no choice but to go to first. So Nate Quintanilla is out, 6-3 for out number 2. Bunny Garcia advances to second base. There's no way, because of how the ball came out, there's no way that Sergio Galvan, the third baseman, could try to get a double play on that. So he decided to go to first and get the sure out. So there's 2 outs in the top of the 5th inning. Robbie Maldonado, he's 0 for 1. In the second inning, he had a very important sacrifice that put the courtesy runner in scoring position and actually scored. And that might not come out in the box score in the newspaper, but that sacrifice was very important because the Bulldogs were able to manufacture a run. And you got to give credit to Coach Pompa. Knowing that his team has not been scoring runs, he played small ball, used the sacrifice to his advantage, and it paid off. High. That makes it 3 balls and no strikes on Robbie Maldonado. And that's ball 4. Robbie Maldonado gets a walk. So now we have runners on first and second on that walk. And it brings up to the plate, guess who? Hector Garcia. Now, in the first let me look at my score sheet here. Actually, in the second inning, Hector Garcia struck out. But he came out on the fourth inning and on a 3-ball, 1-strike count, which is a hitter's count. Hector Garcia got a fastball. It looked like a fastball from up here, and he put it way out there in left field. Here in the fence, it says it's about 320 down the left field line. That one was maybe 375 to 400. He really got a hold of that one. As soon as it cracked, Nathaniel, we knew it was gone, right? It was way out of here. It was a momentum. I mean, everybody got excited in the dugout. Here's a pitch. And he got hit. Hit pitch. So now the bases are loaded. And I guarantee you the MCHI fans are kind of complaining about that, but there's no way that Laredo Alexander wants to have more base runners. Now, even though the Bulldogs are 4-0, it's a good lead, but not enough. It's never enough against good teams. Chris Bernal coming up to bat. He had a big RBI single in the first inning. Got to give credit because it was 2 outs. And anytime you have 2 outs and you come through with a hit, that even magnifies how important that hit was. And it was the first run of the ball game for the Bulldogs. Kind of give them like a little spunk to the whole team that we're going to do okay today. Chris Bernal with 2 balls, make it 3. Pitcher for Laredo Alexander is Jackson Alanis, is struggling with his control. I guarantee you Chris Bernal will not swing on this one. And that's ball, well, they call strike. It's almost what they call the good old automatic. And I was guilty of that. I apologize to a lot of batters that I call that strike on when I used to umpire. And that's ball 4. That brings in another run. Good eye by Chris Bernal. Brings in Abani Garcia for run number 5. The bases remain loaded. Now batting, Gibi Mata. Gibi Mata struck out in the second. And in the 4th inning, he had another very important sacrifice bunt. That worked out real good because the Bulldogs were able to score a run on that. Another ball. Struggling with his control is Jackson Alanis. I wonder how much longer is Coach Limas for Alexander going to wait. Bulldogs already 5-0, and Aaron Nixon so far has shown that he's in control of this game. We're ready to get back into the action. Bases loaded. Robbie Maldonado at third. Hector Garcia at second. And Chris Bernal at first. And there's a strike. Makes it 2 balls and 1 strike. Gibi Mata with Jacob Vela on deck. Another ball. Makes it. Looking at the scoreboard. I don't think the scoreboard is wrong. Bases loaded, 2 outs. And that's walk. Brings in another run number 6, and they're going to have to probably take him out. I don't think Coach Limas can afford to give up more runs. And yes, Coach Limas is coming out. We'll have a new pitcher.
I opened Alex Oral with the intention to give people in Brownsville and those who visit us a very unique experience in the area of retail. We saw the need to give people a personal experience that only a boutique could provide. Here in Alex and Raw, what we work for is searching for different pieces, textures we bring from India, from Mexico, trying to make this a different experience. The people to find treasures here in their own valley. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody and making them a part of our family. We invite you to discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
At Illuminations, we're a one-stop shop. We have all the lighting you need for your new home, outdoor lighting, ceiling fans, chandeliers. So when you're building your new home, we work well with your builder. We'll get your floor plans, or we'll walk the house if we need to, make sure all the light fixtures that you get are gonna work and are gonna look good together. Illuminations is a family-owned business. We've been in business for 17 years now. My parents actually were in the construction industry prior to opening the store, and it was during this time that they noticed a need for a store like ours, one that would provide the customer service that contractors and new homeowners are looking for, and eliminate the headaches that you might get when you're shopping at a big box store and you don't get that one-on-one customer service. The Brownsville area is really growing. There's a lot of movement, there's a lot of construction, there's a lot of excitement. So we're glad that we finally have a store here that customers can come look at our products here locally. I invite you to come discover Brownsville.
New pitcher for Laredo Alexander is Joseph Chavana. The Bulldogs have scored 2 runs and really no hits, just a bunch of walks. And now the lead is 6-0. And I have some breaking news for our fans, just to show that Real Sports Live listens. They made some phone calls. We were having complaints about the angle, and we will now be able to show you more. Real Sports Live got permission to go ahead and show a little bit about the batter and the pitcher and show more than the angle we were showing yesterday. So tell your friends, pop up kind of like a lazy fly there to the first baseman for out number 3. But the damage has been done on a lot of walks. The MCHI Bulldogs add to their lead, and after 4.5 innings of play, it's a MCHI Bulldogs 6, Laredo Alexander 0. We'll be back for the bottom of the 5th.
Never pay for the showroom. At Mi Casa Furniture, you can buy any of this furniture for 50% off retail. Think about it. 50% off retail at Mi Casa Furniture, 7533 Boca Chica, where you always buy for less.
And we're back here in the bottom of the 5th inning. So far, the MCHI Bulldogs showing how tough it is to put them away. They have already survived 2 elimination games here in the playoffs. This is the 3rd time they're in an elimination game, meaning that they don't win, they go home. And they're showing how tough they are. They're up 6-0. Do want to remind our fans for this game that some of you were disappointed last night that we had an angle just at the catcher. But now we're going to be able to show the pitcher and the catcher. So those of you that send some recommendations, just to show you that Real Sports Live, Mr. Joe Bowling listened to you or saw your information you were sent. So now you'll have a better view. Leading off is Andres Santos, a designated hitter. Here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Laredo Alexander still has 9 outs, so this game is not over. They're not in this round for any reason. But they are undefeated. They came into this game in the playoffs 4-0, and the Bulldogs came into this game 4-3. So a strikeout by Nixon, not messing around. And that's a sign of a good pitcher. That strikeout number 6 for Aaron Nixon. Sign of a good pitcher is don't give your opponent an opportunity by walking. And in both games last night, walks hurt Abani Garcia, the first run. And today the first run also came in because of walk. There's a pop-up. Looks like Abani Garcia. It looks like catcher Nate Quintanilla. Nope. It hit the top of the roof. And let me tell you, fans, I don't know where you're at. I think Laredo's about an hour and a half away from Roma. And I came in from MCHI, which is about an hour away, depending on the traffic. If we're going to the third game, and I'm not saying we are, but if we are, you might want to come out here because this ballpark was placed beautifully. Everybody has shade. The temperature's about 95, 96. It's hot, but it doesn't feel hot because there's a slight wind. And everybody in the stands on both sides, Laredo Alexander and MCHI, has shade. Forget about that fastball. 2 strikes, and you know Nixon is smelling the victory. Back-to-back strikeouts. It is the bottom of the order batting. Now batting is Jorge Gonzalez, who flied out to the right fielder. So once again, if Nixon can get out of this inning without giving any runs and their Bulldogs from MCHI up 6-0, you still have 2 innings, plenty of time to get out here, and there'll be a 30-minute delay between games. So come out. You still have chance. Do not bring out your umbrella because the umbrella is not needed like it was in Game 1. So just to let everybody know, talk to each other, get on that car, come out and support your kids out here. Especially if you're from the Laredo area, you're in the MCHI area, you have plenty of time to make it. Baseball fans, you want to see a good ball game? In case they get to that game, it should be a great ball game. You know, one of the reasons when I was asked about the MCHI Bulldogs is they were in trouble. Of course you're in trouble when you lose Game 1, but when you lose a game in the playoffs 12-2, and you think you're down and you turn it around 30 minutes later and win a game, I mean, that tells you that this ball club is a tough ball club. So it's 3 balls and 1 strike, 2 outs. The Bulldogs scored 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, and 2 in the fifth for a 6-0 lead. That's a ground ball to the shortstop. Good job of coming up with it. 3 up, 3 down. Aaron Nixon continues to dominate. So in that inning, no runs, no hits, nobody left, 2 strikeouts. After 5 complete innings of play, MCHI 6, Alexander 0.
My dad was sitting down at a Denny's with my sister, and Valley TV changed our lives. My dad was sitting down, and as he saw up while he was eating his breakfast, he saw me on TV, and at that point he knew that he had done right. It was a turning point in our relationship that is been nurtured ever since he saw that. It gave him a new perspective. He finally understood that I was making the right choices, and I was giving back to the community. And really at this time would really want to thank Valley TV for not only helping Las Brisas Boxing Club and the community, but in bonding me and my father back. And I'm forever grateful for Valley TV for that. Thank you, Valley TV.
Welcome everybody back to Roma, Texas, Gladiator Field. We are now in the top of the sixth inning with the MCHI Bulldogs leading Alexander Bulldogs 6-0. Leading off in the top of the sixth inning is a leadoff man for the Bulldogs, Rigo Moreno. He walked in the first inning but caught stealing. Then had a sacrifice and a ground out, so he's actually 0 for 1. Has not scored a run in this game. 1 ball, 1 strike. New pitcher stayed in, got the last out of the inning. Joseph Chavana back on the mound for the Alexander Bulldogs. Rigo Moreno to plate. Here's a pitch. Another ball. Once again, I'm not saying anything. It's 6-0. MCHI. Don't want to jinx anyone. Don't want to be criticized. I'm just telling people out there with a 6-0 lead and the way Aaron Nixon is so far pitching, he's in total command. We might be going to game 3. So if you can get out here, we're in the top of the sixth inning. If we do get to game 3, I'd say, based on how the innings go, you're looking at that game starting in about an hour and a half from now. And if you're worried about the shade, don't worry about the shade. There's plenty of shade here. You don't need any umbrellas. I'm wondering if other schools, high schools around the valley, are they thinking to get a new ballpark? Come and take a look at the Roma ballpark, because it's a comfortable ballpark. So that's 2 balls. Now batting pitcher Aaron Nixon. When they needed a big game out of Aaron Nixon, he's giving it to. He's delivering. Aaron Nixon also scored a run in the 3rd inning. Throw to first. Got away from the first baseman, but not far away or not enough for Rigo Moreno to get up and run to second. Aaron Nixon, he struck out in the 1st inning, and then he got a double in the 3rd inning, and then flied out to the second baseman. It's 1 for 3. 2 balls. Make it 3. 3 balls on Aaron Nixon, the pitcher for the MCHI Bulldogs. Last week, he pitched game number 3 against Far San Juan Alamo and did a fantastic job. Went 5 innings. And there's a walk for Aaron Nixon. He'll get a courtesy runner, but that put runners on 1st and 2nd. And that brings the dangerous Abani Garcia. Abani struck out in the 1st inning, then got a double on a fly out that was very difficult to catch because it went in between the center and right fielder. And actually, they kind of collided with each other, and we had to get medical personnel out there from Laredo Alexander to check up on them, and thank goodness they were okay. Runner on 1st and 2nd. Top of the 6th. MCHI Bulldogs in the lead, 6-0. Looking to try to see if they can add more. And that's the game of baseball, folks. Last night, the MCHI Bulldogs looked flat, and today they don't. They're executing exactly like they should. Bonnie faked like he was going to bunt. I don't think Abani's going to bunt in this situation. Not with the power that he has. We'll see what happens. Low. Would like to congratulate the Edinburgh Vela Sabercats. Last night, facing elimination and trailing late in the game, they came back and put some runs on the board, and they forced game number 3 today. Good eye by Abani Garcia. So Edinburgh Vela and Los Fresnos are meeting right now, and I'm going to ask Nathaniel to see if he can find out a score for us. They should already be playing, but it's just they split the first two games 1-1, so they're in game 3. So we have 2 balls and 1 strike on a Bonnie Garcia. Make it 3 balls and 1 strike. The Bulldogs from MCHI looking to add to that 6-0 lead here in the top of the 6th inning. The fans are pretty quiet. And there's ball 4. That's going to load the bases. That's a mark of a disciplined hitter right there, folks. Because Abani has a lot of power. He could get anxious and try to look for a ball. We're going to have another pitching change with the bases loaded here in the top of the 6th inning and nobody out. We'll be right back and let you know who's the new pitcher.
Worried about going to the dentist? Don't worry. It doesn't have to be that way. We know just how you feel. Sure, it can feel a little scary. Still no? Before you have time to worry, we'll get you taken care of fast and easy. Now you can get back to your day with a healthy smile. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff are here for you. Make an appointment online Monday through Friday and open late Tuesday and Thursday till 8 p.m. From chipped or missing teeth to discoloration, we offer the latest techniques to correct all your cosmetic problems. We've been treating our patients like family for over 30 years.
And we're back here in the top of the 6th inning. We had a pitching change. Now pitching is Luis Verreal here in the top of the 6th inning. The Bulldogs from MCHI leading 6-0. Bases loaded. And Nate Quintanilla at the plate. This would be a good time for Nate to get something going. Cleanup man for the Bulldogs from MCHI. And he comes out swinging. Strike 1. There was a couple of changes that I wasn't able to get, but I did notice one change. The right fielder for Laredo Alexander, Paco Hernandez, is now in the dugout, resting. He might be the next pitcher. Don't know, just saying. I was told before the game that he was one of the pitchers that if they got to game 3, this is Laredo Alexander, it would be a possibility. A foul ball makes it count 1 ball, 2 strikes. There would be a possibility that Paco Hernandez would be used if we get to game number 3. So we'll keep an eye out for that if we do indeed get into game 3. Here's the pitch. Ground ball to the shortstop. Gets an out at third, but a run comes in. That makes it 7-0. Runners advance to second and first. Now batting Robbie Maldonado. Bulldogs from McAllen now leading 7-0. The rally still there with a runner on first and second. Nice pitch by Luis Verreal. Robbie Maldonado had a really important sacrifice bunt in the first inning, struck out, and then walked and came back to score. And there's a hit. And the runner's going to come home for run number 8. RBI single for Robbie Maldonado. As a courtesy runner scores the 8th run for the Bulldogs. And now there's runners on first and third. Now batting Hector Garcia. And after Hector struck out in the 2nd inning in this game, he really ignited his teammates with a massive home run by Hector Garcia, left field. I mean, we're talking that ball went. Runners on first and third, 1 out. Swinging a foul ball to the right side, out of play for strike number 1 on Hector Garcia. So far, 2 runs are in. The MCHI Bulldog offense kind of waking up at the right time. Nasty off-speed pitch that fooled Hector Garcia. I think Hector needs to know that they're not going to throw fastballs to him. Not after what he did to that pitch in the 4th inning. Runners on first and third, 1 out. Hector Garcia asked for timeout. The Bulldogs scored 1 in the 2nd, 2 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and so far 2 in the 6th. Offense waking up at the right time and swung on a miss. That makes out number 2. Now batting Chris Bernal. Freshman Chris Bernal playing third base. Chris Bernal is 1 for 2 in this ball game. Had an RBI single in the 2nd. Struck out in the 4th, but made it to first anyway because it was a pass ball. And then walked in the 5th. But that RBI single in the 1st inning actually happened with 2 outs. Very important first run for the Bulldogs. And he pops up the ball. It looks like the shortstop is under it for out number 3. And that is the out number 3. So the Bulldogs in the top of the 6th scored 2 runs. And that makes the score MCHI Bulldogs 8, Alexander Bulldogs 0. We go to the bottom of the 6th.
The reason we made this quesadillas Tres Marias is because there's a little village in Mexico that it's really popular and it's known for its quesadillas. You're gonna come to my kitchen and you're gonna see that we have no cans. Everything is fresh. We use achote. We do the mole ourselves. We have 3 types of quesadillas. One is flour tortilla. We have nixtamal made handmade tortilla, and our specialty, which are the fried tortillas. That's the concept we bring to the north of Mexico and south of Texas. For me, this is not only a business, you know, it's my house, it's my career, it's my family, it's my friends that come here. Brownsville, it's a gentle city, a kind city. I invite you to come discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
And we're back here in the bottom of the 6th. The MCHI Bulldogs leading 8-0. You heard it right, 8-0. The offense has done the right things at the right time. They haven't been too anxious. They've taken advantage of some walks, a couple of sacrifices here. I think Coach Eliseo Pompa set the tone, trying to get a couple of runs, get that confidence level back to the offense. And the sacrifices that he used today have worked to perfection. They've all scored. A couple of key hits. And the Bulldogs are up 8-0. And then again, Aaron Nixon doing a wonderful job in an elimination game. And it looks like Aaron Nixon does a better job when he's in those conditions, because when the Bulldogs were up 1-0 against Laredo United, he pitched game 2. And I believe they lost that game. But then last week against the Far San Juan Alamo Bears, in game 3, he was a pitcher that did a fine job of keeping that high-octane offense from PSJ Bears down. So we're now in the bottom of the sixth inning. Bottom of the sixth inning. Up to bat, number 11, Joel Hinojosa. Here's a pitch. Nice fastball. 2 strikes. Aaron Nixon knows what he needs to do. Good-looking shortstop, good-looking pitcher, already committed to the University of Texas. Has been around the game of baseball for many years. That's another fastball. And not only just because it wasn't in the strike zone doesn't mean that it was a bad pitch. It's a purpose pitch, trying to get Joel Hinojosa to think about it. That's a breaking ball that was high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You hear it all the time when pitchers are leading 8-0, even in the majors. Sometimes it's harder to pitch when you're leading that much because you relax. But you got to keep that concentration level up there. Here's the pitch, and he struck him out on a fastball. So that's out number 1. That's 7 strikeouts. 7 strikeouts by Aaron Nixon. Now batting, Louis Berreal. Louis had a sacrifice in the first inning and then struck out in the third. Fastball right there by Aaron Nixon. You can tell Aaron Nixon knows what he has to do. You're up 8-0. You're in total command of the game. I like a comment that was made by Abani Garcia in the newspaper after losing last night. He said, hey, I have a lot of faith in my team that we're not going to be held down for 3 games. And boy, that is true. 8 runs for the MCHI Bulldogs so far. Foul ball. And when the Laredo Alexander batters are making contact, a lot of the contact is foul balls, and foul balls especially to the right side, meaning that they're not coming around on Aaron Nixon's fastball. So it's 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, bottom of the 6th, no runners on base. And you could hear that fastball over here. Back-to-back strikeouts by Aaron Nixon. That pitch basically was, I'm bringing the fastball, Louis. Let's see what you can do with it. And Aaron Nixon fastball gets another strikeout. Now batting, Marcelo Perez. Marcelo Perez is headed to TCU. The pitcher last night that pitched a gem. Strike. Out of the last 5 batters that have batted, 4 of them have struck out. Aaron Nixon getting stronger, smelling that victory. And there's another strike. Pitch number 81 by Aaron Nixon. So far with 8 strikeouts. Look out. Foul ball. As I was saying, Nathaniel, when they do make contact, it's usually a foul ball. There hasn't been a lot of balls hit very hard off of Nixon this afternoon. Nixon takes his sign from Quintanilla. Beautiful curveball. He struck out the side. 3 strikeouts in a row by Aaron Nixon. He's in total command. So, after 6 complete innings of play, MCHI Bulldogs 8, Laredo Alexander 0.
My dad was sitting down at a Denny's with my sister. And Valley TV changed our lives. My dad was sitting down, and as he saw up while he was eating his breakfast, he saw me on TV. And at that point, he knew that he had done right. It was a turning point in our relationship that is been nurtured ever since he saw that. It gave him a new perspective. He finally understood that I was making the right choices and I was giving back to the community. And really at this time would really want to thank Valley TV for not only helping Las Brisas Boxing Club and the community, but in bonding me and my father back. And I'm forever grateful for Valley TV for that. Thank you, Valley TV.
The Harlingen Downtown District has a bit of everything, my friends, and here's an invitation for you to visit and experience a friendly environment with a taste of local business and a variety of shopping, dining, and entertainment throughout the year. Vintage shops loaded with collectibles from the past, dining that caters to all, boutiques, quilting, salons, live entertainment, and don't forget about market days on the first Saturday of each month on Jackson Street and Art Night the last Friday.
We're back here in the top of the 7th inning. Game 2, a must-win situation for the MCHI Bulldogs. And they look like they're going to get this game as we go to the top of the 7th. MCHI Bulldogs leading 8-0. Kibi Mata at the plate. Once again, this game is being brought to you by RealSportsLive.com. And we thank Joe Bowling and his family. Ground ball to third is going to go through for a hit. For Kibi Mata gets a single on that. And the breaking news that I broke earlier in the game that some of you might not have heard is that now we're giving you a better camera angle. And I would imagine that some phone calls were made because we had a couple of viewers that were requesting for a better angle. And as I alluded to last night, that it was beyond our control at the time because it was an agreement between schools. But now we're able to show you a little bit more of an angle so you can enjoy this game. Of course, we prefer for all of you to come out here packed. There's plenty of seats still available. And I've told everybody there's no umbrellas needed. So far, the shade is pretty good. And there's a base hit that goes to center field. So back-to-back singles. Jacob Bella on the single. Back-to-back singles by the bottom of the order. With a score 8-0. Now batting, the top of the 7th inning, Rigo Moreno. Remo Moreno got on base. There's a high pop-up in the infield. That's going to be playable. Third baseman under it. Infield fly in effect for out number 1. That was the infield fly rule in effect, meaning that with runners on first and second, less than 2 outs, any pop-up in the infield, once the infielder gets under the ball, it's automatic out, even if he drops it, and the runners do not have to, they don't have to run. And there's a wild pitch. The runners will move up. So now we have runners on third and second. Ball 1 on Aaron Nixon. We got 1 out, 1 ball on Aaron Nixon. Runners low, ball 2. Nixon struck out in the first inning. Then got a double, scored. His courtesy runner flied out to the second baseman and walked. And there's a shot to right field, should bring in another run. Well, actually, it dropped in for a hit, so you got to give Nixon a hit. And there's another runner coming around, and the Bulldogs are pouring it on. That should be a base hit for Nixon, and an error allowed the runners to score. A hit and an error. So the Bulldogs with 2 more runs, making it 10-0. We got a courtesy runner at second base. And now batting is Abani Garcia. Strike 1. Abani struck out in the first inning, got a double in the third, walked twice after that. Smart hitter. Anytime you have your third batter willing to take walks, he's being patient, not hurting yourself. Sometimes if you swing at those pitches that are not good, you're going to pop them up. So Bonnie, 1 ball and 1 strike, 10-0. That's right, 10-0. MCHI winning this game. And maybe now 10-0, I can tell fans that the next game will not start if we play game 3 until about an hour from now. So if you're not too far away, come on out and check out a good third game. This will be the first time in the playoffs that Laredo Alexander loses. So how will that play into their mindset? They've been undefeated so far in the playoffs. The Bulldogs have lost 3 games, but they're still here. They won the games they needed to win. And there's a pop-up. And I don't think Abani should have gone for that. It was inside, so he pops it out to the catcher for out number 2. Makes it out number 2, 10-0. Now batting, Nate Quintanilla. What a fabulous night or afternoon Nate Quintanilla had last week in FAR. After catching their first game, 7 innings, and losing, there's a hard hit ball up the middle. Should score another run on a hit by Nate Quintanilla, and that makes it 11-0. Three runs have scored in this inning. But getting back to Nate Quintanilla, he caught 7 innings in the hot sun. First game last week against PSJA was at 12. And since the Bulldogs lost, he had to catch another 5 innings, a total of 12 innings behind the plate in the hot sun. And then he had to pitch the last 2 innings to preserve the victory. And by the way, he also had 2 home runs in that game and a couple of defensive plays. And there's another hit. The Bulldog offense has awakened, folks. And that might be bad news for Laredo Alexander. Look at the hustle, and he's out at second. Robbie Quintanilla out at second. So in this inning, the Bulldogs come up with 3 more runs. And after 6.5 innings to play, it's the MCHI Bulldogs 11, Laredo Alexander 0. We'll be back for the bottom of the 7th.
I opened Alex Oral with the intention to give people in Broadville and those who visit us a very unique experience in the area of retail. We saw the need to give people a personal experience that only a boutique could provide. Here in Alex and Raw, what we work for is searching for different pieces, textures we bring from India, from Mexico, trying to make this a different experience. The people to find treasures here in their own valley. It's a pleasure to welcome everybody and making them a part of our family. We invite you to discover Brownsville. You can't miss it.
I gotta go to the restroom. You should send him a text and tell him Mario and I say that you do most of the talking. And we're back here at the beautiful facility, Gladiator Field, home of the mighty Roma Gladiators. And nobody says it better than their longtime announcer that does basketball games, Ricky Perez. He's not here today in town, or he'd be here with me. He'd probably be the announcer. Getting back to the game, Aaron Nixon back on the mound for the Bulldogs. Coach Pompa, I was thinking maybe give him a break here, not get the last 3 outs, but Coach Pompa is not taking anything for granted because he knows you don't win this game, you don't advance. The Bulldog offense so far with 11 hits, and Aaron Nixon keeping the powerful Laredo offense down to 3 hits. Batting for Alexander, number 8, Normar Garcia. Came in for the spot for Paco Hernandez, who was in right field, and he could be our next pitcher. Aaron Nixon trying to, in the last 2 innings, he has 5 strikeouts. He has not allowed a runner since the 4th inning. Has shut down 8 batters in a row. Getting stronger as the innings go by. Total of 9 strikeouts. We'll see if Aaron Nixon finishes strong and in the double digits in strikeouts. We're in the bottom of the 7th, 11-0 MCHI on top. They scored in every inning starting in the 2nd inning. And that's a foul ball. On deck is number 15 for Laredo Alexander, getting some playing time. And that is Ernesto Mesa. And here's a pitch. You can hear the pop all the way over here. After 80, looks like 87 pitches by Aaron Nixon, well below the 110 pitch count rule, you can still hear the pop on Aaron Nixon's fastball all the way up here to the press box. Ground ball to the second baseman, should be an out. Throw to first, out number 1 in the bottom of the 7th. Now batting, Ernesto Mesa. One out, bottom of the 7th. High fastball. Will Aaron Nixon get his 10th strikeout of the game? Beautiful, beautiful job by Aaron Nixon. When you need for him to come up big, that's exactly what he does. He did it last week against PSJ Bear in an elimination game, and he's doing it again. It's going to be interesting to see who Coach Eliseo Pompa is going to bring in as his pitcher, because Robbie Maldonado, he pitched in the 3rd game, did a tremendous job to secure the victory against Laredo United. But in the second game against PSJA last week, Robbie Maldonado struggled. That's a game that the MCHI Bulldogs lost 12-2. We also know that catcher Nate Quintanilla can give you a couple of innings. I expect Robbie Maldonado to be the pitcher only because he did it before in a pressure situation, which was game number 3, and that was actually against Laredo United. And there's a walk. You can tell Aaron Nixon's not happy with himself just by the gestures, and he knows better than anybody. Why am I walking a batter? I'm up 11-0. It's really a pinch. It's not a starter. So he knows that that's not what he's supposed to do, but sometimes that's when it's hard to throw strikes. Now batting is TC Chavez. And there's a strike. What Aaron Nixon wants to do is don't mess around. I'm up 11-0. Momentum's on our side. Let me just shut him down. And he's coming in with the fastballs. Trying to finish the game strong. For the Bulldogs, they scored. And I'll say MCHI Bulldogs, 1 in the second, 2 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 2 in the sixth, 3 in the seventh for a total of 11 runs. There's a strike. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out, runner on first. Bottom of the seventh. It definitely looks like we're going to go to game number 3 in the Battle of the Bulldogs here in this very important regional quarterfinals. And he does get strikeout for out number 2, and that's strikeout number 10. Now, guess who the winners play? The winners will play San Antonio Reagan, whoever wins this game. San Antonio Reagan actually swept in a surprise. They swept the powerful Travis High School. Oh. In a softball update for Edinburgh Vela, they're down 4-3 against San Antonio Warren, and they lost last night, so they got to win that game. But we're here in the bottom of the 7th inning, 11-0. Strike. And pretty much Aaron Nixon is just saying, I'm throwing fastballs, I'm throwing strikes. That's the way it goes. So after this game is over, we'll try to... They told us that the game will start 30 minutes after the last out, and we'll see what happens. There's a hit. It should be going all the way to the gap. It should be at least a double. So a double by Belkis Ramirez keeps them alive. Now they have runners on second and third. And now the big question of the day is for Aaron Nixon, will he get a shutout? Now batting is Sergio Galvan, and he has struck out twice. So Aaron Nixon will go into the stretch, leading 11-0 with 10 strikeouts, has allowed 4 hits. And he's coming with a heater. Ball 1. So far, nobody has scored for Laredo Alexander. Will Aaron get his shutout? And there's a strike right down the pipe. One ball, 1 strike. The Bulldog offense came to just came to play today. They awakened at the right time with 11 hits. And there's strike 2. So with 2 strikeouts already by Sergio Galvan, he better be ready for this one, because here comes a fastball. Or maybe not. Maybe Aaron will want to finish the game on a off-speed pitch, but I doubt it. Well, he is shaking off Quintanilla. Let's see what he brings. Looked like a fastball, fouled off. You heard it right. If you're just tuning in, it's MCHI 11, Alexander 0. That'll be the first game in the playoffs that Alexander loses. In the playoffs, they'll be 4-1. Oh, it was a nice inside curveball by Aaron Nixon. I think he fooled everybody, and the plate umpire came up ready to ring him, but his body stopped and didn't call out number 3. On that pitch, all the Bulldogs on defense, they were all heading to the dugout to get a little bit of shade, get themselves ready for game number 3. Inside pitch fouled off. So the count remains 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Runners on second and third for Alexander. Aaron Nixon with 10 strikeouts has allowed 4 hits. And we'll see if he gets strikeout number 11. And he does. So, Aaron Nixon, fine pitching performance, 11 strikeouts, and that's the ball game. So, if you can't make it out, you have about a half an hour, spread out the word, spread out the news. We're going to game number 3 to determine who's going to be the regional quarterfinal winners in the Battle of Laredo Alexander and MCHI. The final score in game number 2, MCHI 11, Alexander 0. The coaches are meeting. They're probably going to flip to see who's the home team. And we'll come back with the details in about 20 minutes.